Are we started, Dan?
Yes, we are.
Okay, we're on live, and if we don't stop talking, we'll have to call the teacher. Okay. Hi. This is Ray and Melissa. Welcome to NDFA, Northside Democracy for America, whose mission is to elect socially progressive, fiscally responsible, and ethically committed Democrats to all levels of government. We want to welcome any people that are watching a virtual meeting or in person for the first time. Please make sure NDFA has your email address by signing up on the Google form posted on the comments in Facebook or on our website. Let's give a shout out to 99 Perspectives, the technical support gurus. We wouldn't be doing this without them. So, and then Melissa, Joe, Joe's not here. So we have EJ, who will be keeping us on time and throwing glasses of water at us. Okay. Welcome steering committee. Mary, EJ, Kevin, Mary Claire, Joe who's not here, Melissa, Robert, Becky, please stand up and wave. Wave. Okay. So far we're doing well. You become a voting member by attending 3 meetings and 3 activities for endorsed candidates. Report both kinds of attendance, including door knocking, on our web form to NorthsideDFA.com.
NorthsideDFA.com. And if you are watching on Facebook and want us to count it as meeting attendance, report that on our web form at NorthsideDFA.com.
Yes. Okay. Don't forget about our tip jar, which is right over here, and also online, I think. Right, EJ?
Again, go to our website, NorthsideDFA.com. You can donate at any time. We will always take your donations.
Most importantly, eat and drink liberally, not conservatively, liberally. And
Or progressively.
Tip. Our wonderful hostess and everybody else. Now is what we're waiting for is a here.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with going on our wins and losses from the last election. If I can read my page. So at the moment, Daniel Espada is winning without a runoff. Woo! There's still some votes that need to be counted, so it's still close enough to be a little bit of a but we hope that Daniel Espada will make the runoff.
Will not make the runoff.
We'll not have a runoff. We'll
Well,
get
that
50% vote plus 1, please. In the 15th ward, our candidate Vico Alvarez did not win and did not make a runoff, which is disappointing, but there it is. In the 26th ward, we endorsed Jessie Fuentes. She won outright. Not a question. Yay, Jessie. In the 30th ward, we endorsed Juan Pablo Prieto and Warren Williams. Neither one of them made the runoff. Ruth Cruz and Jessica Gutierrez did. We will be hearing a letter from Jessica's campaign in a little bit. Rosana Rodriguez Sanchez won outright. Carlos Ramirez Rosa won outright. Lori Torres Witt made the runoff. Yay! In 38, Ed Bannon did not. Somehow Nick Sposato actually won outright, which, who knows? What is that about? In 39, Denali Dasgupta did not win. Andre Vasquez, who we did not endorse, but he did win. And in 43rd, our candidate, Rebecca Genois, came in 3rd. Yeah. And in 45th, Meg Matthias has made the runoff against Jim Gardner. Yay! In 46, we endorsed 2 candidates, Angela Clay and Marianne Lalonde, and Angela has made the runoff against Kim Waltz. Marianne is 3rd, which we are sad about, but there it is. Matt Martin went outright. He was the only one running in his ward. Yay, Matt. Maria Haddon. Wait a minute. I'm forgetting 48. Sorry. In 48, Nick Ward did not make the runoff. The 2 people who did make the runoff are Lenny Mana-Hoppenworth and Joe Dunn. We'll be hearing a little bit from Lenny's campaign later and voting on that. Maria Haddon won outright her re-election, and Maurice Bouani did not win. Did not. And now I have to find these district councils in which we actually endorsed. We did pretty well. David Orlikoff in the 14th district won outright with more than 60% of the vote. In the 17th, our 3 candidates won. Anthony Temez, Beth Rockford, and Steve Spagnuolo. I'll name it. We endorsed Amy Cross in the 18th. She did not make the 3rd. We endorsed 4 people in the 19th, of which 2 made the runoff, Marilo Garcia and Samuel Schoenberg. Their slate won with Jennifer Schaefer, and Julie Caviar and Demi Palachek did not win. In the 20th, Deidre O'Connor won, and I can't read my notes. Hasdid, Anna Rubin, and Joshua D'Antonio, right?
Joshua did not win.
Oh, Antonio did not win. Okay. But who's our other endorsed candidate?
Joshua.
Darrell won, yeah. Okay. And Becky, have I forgotten anyone? My notes 24.
24.
24?
Or 24 and 25.
Oh, okay.
Search for more.
Sorry.
Maryland.
Okay, oh, right. In 24th, we had endorsed 4, 3 from 1, and their basic slate won with Veronica Ariolo, Edvette Jones, and Marilyn Pagan Banks, and Cynthia McFadden was 4th. So really good for us there. And in 25, Sal Lorenzo, I'm sure I just mangled his name, but he won. So yay.
And with the exception of 18, which was a really hard district, none of our candidates who did win lost to FOP candidates.
Yes.
Right?
Woo!
And the FOP lawyer got under 10% of his race.
Woo!
That's brutal.
Okay.
It's so weird how like people were eating, meaning, finding out except for him. He's a dick.
All right. One of the candidates who we did not see or endorse in the first round was Jessica Gutierrez in the 30th Ward. Her campaign manager is Maggie O'Keefe, and Maggie requested that we consider Jessica this time.
Who was endorsed last? Sorry.
That was Warren Williams and one.
No, in 2019.
Oh, who has been endorsed by NDFA before. Right. Jessica could not come herself tonight because she has another event. And they could not send a surrogate because her entire campaign staff is down with COVID. So with that, the best option was to read this letter. Mary Claire sent out a lovely email prior to this meeting saying, please give us questions and we'll get them answered. So I'm going to read this letter. and the answers to the questions. And I'm gonna stand a little bit because the light is a little weird for the thing. It's hard to read.
You want me to read it?
No.
I'm gonna see if you can read it.
Girl's voice. It should be read by a girl. Sorry. So, Jessica writes, thank you for this opportunity to present my qualifications for your endorsement. I apologize for not being able to meet with you in person this evening, as I had a fundraiser scheduled for the same time, and my best surrogates are both quarantining and getting over COVID. I am running in a newly mapped ward that is seeking engagement, access, and partnership with the Alderman's office, the type of leadership that it has not seen in over 20 years. The new 30th Ward is a representation of the duality of our city struggles with income, equality, and resources. The ward includes Independence Park, Old Irving Park, and to the west Portage Park, Belmont Craigan, south to Rees Park, where me and my husband are raising our 20-month-old son. I am currently running full-time, and I'm a former high school teacher, a teaching assistant at the University of Illinois, and most recently served as the Director of Policy for the Puerto Rican Cultural Center. I am also pursuing and finishing graduate work towards my PhD in History and Sociology. We have attracted a coalition of communities that has powered our volunteer and youth-driven campaign to win a plurality in 20 of 26 precincts on February 28th. We won every neighborhood. We have a defined path to victory and the resources to get our message out to voters. With the help of a progressive organization like yours, we will add yet another progressive voice in City Council. Excuse me a moment. I'm going to take a sip of water.
Aren't you in drama?
Yeah. This is COVID. My breath is terrible. I have to say. So, anyway, COVID. Don't get it. Let's see. My vision is clear and simple. Offer equal and comprehensive service to every neighborhood from Belmont Craigan to Independence Park. My first 100 days plan. 1, hire a senior staff as the 30th Ward Public Safety Liaison, charged as point for engagement and coordination with all enforcement and investigative agencies. Complete a ward-wide infrastructure audit, including parks, public transit, streets, including bike and pedestrian amenities, alleys, sidewalks, trees, and lighting. I'm going to move forward so I can put this down. Audit TIFs and SSAs to make sure your tax money is spent wisely. Establish a zoning advisory council and publish a clear procedure and standards so communities know how zoning decisions will be made. Host initial education and public safety town halls and set a schedule for ongoing quarterly events. Encourage economic development by establishing a database of vacant buildings and lots detailing zoning, owner, and management contracts. Fully support a woman's right to health care and choice. My opponent is supported by Alderman Raboyes and Cardonia and represents the status quo. Both voted against the ordinance that protects women seeking reproductive care from violent right-wing protesters at clinics. Former Alderman Vilma Colon has a history of anti-Mexican statements and is advisor to the Ruth Cruz campaign. We need a new direction and progressive solutions to the complex issue we now face, and we face now and to come. I hope that you will support my campaign and help ensure this opportunity for the new 30th Ward. Again, I thank you for your consideration, Jessica Gutierrez. And I think I will let you read that questions and answers.
Okay.
Do you have them? Wait, you move right. Start here. way.
I want to stay in the dark.
No.
Okay. Why did Jessica support Villegas instead of Delia for the 3rd Congressional District? I have worked with both Alderman Villegas and Congresswoman Ramirez to bring resources to the Latino community, serving as a field organizer for Delia's campaign for state representative in 2018, and engaging with Alderman Villegas to help secure funding and other resources from the city during the pandemic. I hold each in high regard and look forward to a productive relationship with them during the years to come.
Okay, I'll read the questions and read the answers.
Okay.
What is Jessica's definition of public safety?
I won't make anything up. Public safety can't be measured in simple statistics. It is a perception derived from many factors beyond policing. Economic stability in our households, in our business community, schools that serve our students, needs beyond the basics, community engagement, and socialization are major contributing factors in how we achieve a sense of personal safety. It begins with justice. There must be efforts to build bridges wherever possible with our peace officers and marginalized communities. Neighbors in the 30th Ward want to feel safe. While working towards root causes of crime. We want to know their beat officer and send social workers to non-violent calls. We can achieve all this with the right relationship. Out of the 1.9 CPD budget,
Our 1.94 billion CPD budget.
is not the problem. How the 1.94 billion budget is allocated is the problem.
The next question is, what is Jessica's priority on funding CPS? Staff, infrastructure, etc.
Let's be honest, aldermen do not set or approve the CPS budget, but they can be strong advocates for local schools and work to attract the funds from within CPS to address building maintenance, amenities, and staff. As an educator, I have seen the true cost of underfunding our public institutions and top-down leadership. We should be fully funding schools across all of Chicago instead of closing them. As alderperson, I will fight to get class sizes down, increase scholarships, and introduce more vocational programs so every kid has a path to high grades, a safe school environment, and resources for all classrooms. My plan.
Shall I read my plan? I'll read my plan. My plan. Host and attend regular roundtable discussions with LSC leaders, principals, educators, members of the Board of Education, and CPS leadership. There are too few contact points between those that run the system and those that rely on it. From these discussions, we can begin to bridge the information gap that exists. 2, hold education town halls to gain an understanding of the community needs and expectations. This input will allow me to present those needs within CPS and in front of the board. 3, tour and document maintenance issues in every school that serves the residents of the 30th Ward. We need to make our schools the jewels of the community by encouraging community and student volunteer projects, i.e. community gardens, murals, and cleanups. 4, partner and share data with neighboring alders to increase the impact of our collective voice in the communities and at the Board of Education. 5, working with the not-for-profit community to establish scholarships and attract philanthropic investment to fill the funding gaps that exist. And 6, raise the profile of our students, teachers, and administrators' achievements. There are many examples that do not make the evening news to counter the negative narrative that permeates so we can regain the trust of parents.
That's it?
No, you start end.
Wait, it doesn't end?
No, it really doesn't. Okay, you read
I got it.
I can hold,
Oh, okay.
and that makes it easier.
These are the places I will start. There are more ideas that we will have vet, test, and implement. The most important thing is to be open-minded, realistic, and set goals. There is no magic bullet. It will take work and focus to reverse the trend.
And there are 2 more questions. 4, CP&D's compliance with the consent decree is pretty abysmal. What will Jessica do to make CP&D pick up the pace on compliance?
We must prioritize this process and set a deadline to full compliance. This will serve as a key roadmap to establish trust between police and the community they serve. The council will need to work with the new administration to push this forward and meet the timeline and the courts have established. I will join with my council colleagues to hold regular hearings in the Public Safety Committee. I will seek to sit on this committee so the public can measure progress over the first year of the term. Almost done. My office will make regular reports to the community, and the public safety liaison will be charged with facilitating this within the ward office.
And the final question, which caucuses do you plan to be a part of if you are elected to city council?
You want to guess? Progressive, Women's, and Latino.
All right.
We did it.
That's, so we'll be voting on that later during the voting time.
Now we're gonna repeat that 3 times really fast. Okay. Now,
This is why we don't do this on in a normal cycle.
no,
Just show up most of the time. But because this is a runoff,
you know, it's the way it is.
it's what it
Okay,
is.
our next guest will be representing Lenny Hoppenworth of the 48th Ward. And a little bit of background. Lenny came in second place with 3,624 votes, or 23%. Nick Ward came in third place with 2,945 votes at 19%. And Joe Dunn came in first at 4,172 votes and 26%. And there were 10 candidates. So what we're looking at here is just a wide open race. And our guest, Nicole, will be talking more about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Nicole Granicki. I am the campaign chair on Lenny Hoppenworth's campaign.
Sorry, I mangled your name.
She jokes that it's going to be the longest name on the ballot, which it was with the 10 candidates. So you met Lenny here before. You heard about her stance on the issues, her vision for the community, and I was asked to come today to speak about, just give a campaign update. So I've got a few notes here about kind of where we're at today. I remember last time questions about fundraising, so I wanted to start there. We did fundraise $80,000 before February 28th to get us where we are today. Our plan is to raise another $100,000 to $150,000 to get us over the finish line. I will say that over 50% of our fundraising so far was from small donors, a lot of that $50 or less. So there's been a lot of excitement about Lenny and a lot of different donors contributing to that. In terms of the field plan, we have recently brought on a new field director. Her name is Jaz. We've also brought in a volunteer organizer on the team and a fundraiser to help get us to that $150,000 that we're going to need. So we've got a solid plan in place, and we had our first canvass since the election this weekend, so we've already kicked things off. In terms of endorsements, the endorsements are rolling in kind of by the day, by the hour at this point. It's official, but it hasn't been announced yet, so you all are the first to hear that Maria Haddon has officially endorsed Lenny's campaign. We're very excited about that, so you'll see that announcement coming soon. We also, I'm just gonna rattle them off if you don't mind. Asian American Midwest Progressives has endorsed Lenny, Girl I Guess, Chicago Now PAC, Activate Chicago Parents, Indivisible Illinois, and Indivisible Illinois 9, which are two organizations that Lenny helped co-found. Vote Mama, Teresa Ma, our Illinois State Rep, David Orr, former Cook County Clerk, Ray Newman, former Congresswoman, Keena Collins, who's a gun violence prevention advocate, Illinois Nurses Association, and More People's Campaign. So that's the list I have with me now. It's getting updated all the time. And that's what I have for the update and the campaign update, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Robert?
Could you just outline what the stakes of this race are?
The stakes of this race? So I think Lenny and her opponent have very different visions for the 48th Ward and for our community. So the good thing is this race is going to be about the issues and their different stance on those issues. So I would say Lenny is the progressive candidate and progressive choice of the two options, and her opponent has a very kind of different vision for the ward.
Any other questions?
There's one in the back.
Yeah, I saw Mayor Claire's hand and then Ivy.
You said $100,000 to $150,000 more?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and Ivy is next.
I'm going to revert back to the first question. What is the vision for the ward from this campaign? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ivy. I mean, the vision and the focus of the campaign has been on health and safety, of course, number one. Lenny's values really are driving this campaign. She is bringing her progressive values and her experience to the race. Lenny's one of the only candidates out of the 10 that were in the race that has experience working at the very grassroots level in our ward, as well as the city and statewide levels. So she brings that experience, and I think that's what voters saw in her and liked about her on February 28th, and I think what they'll like about her on April 4th as well. I would say,
Small business.
yeah, absolutely. So Lenny's really strong on small business support. So she actually won an award from the Andersonville Chamber of Commerce for her work supporting small businesses. I remember hearing here that a lot of candidates talk about supporting small businesses, and Lenny does it, and that award is just kind of a testament to her support of small businesses. I've been asked a lot personally on this campaign which candidate's going to be the best to revitalize the Bryn Mawr corridor. And if you go down Bryn Mawr now, you can see that the business owners in that corridor think that that person is Lenny. She's got the signs in every window down Bryn Mawr, and I couldn't agree more. I think that's really a strong suit of hers. A lot of what she's done in the Andersonville Chamber of Commerce has been shared with other Chamber of Commerces and best practices. And I think that intersectionality is also a strength of hers as well. Understanding that public safety, getting empty storefronts filled, allowing our kids to be able to walk to school safely, it's all connected. And Lenny's perspective as a mom, as a small business owner, and as a longtime resident of the ward, raising her family in the community for over 20 years, is going to make her a strong leader in the 48th.
I have a question, and I'm going to take privilege. Can you expound on what her idea of public safety is? Because I will say, I came away after her speech a little fuzzy on where she stands, on what her definition of public safety and how she would
Yeah. I know hearing Lenny speak a lot about public safety at the various forums, she'll say that she doesn't want to see poverty criminalized in this city anymore. You'll hear her say that she is passionate about getting to the root causes of public safety, about funding mental health initiatives. She's also, as a business owner, knows that we need those storefronts filled, and that's also a public safety initiative. If anyone here has been to the night market on Argyle, you might know that that night market actually is a public safety initiative primarily. And I think that's the sort of creative public safety initiatives that Lenny would bring to the ward.
Okay, and
Yeah, has she reached out to Jan Schakowsky for her endorsement?
I would assume so. I don't know exactly where that stands at the moment.
Because that might be real helpful for you.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm not sure.
okay,
So Chris is the last one.
I'm the
Mrs.
last
Wilson.
one. In regards to environmental and sustainability, what kind of plans, because I already know Joe Dunn's plans in regards to that, but what is Lenny's plans in regards to environmental and sustainability in the 48? Can you expand on that?
I don't know off the top of my head, to tell you the truth, like the details of her plan on the environment. I know on her website she's got a lot of great information. I know personally, I can tell you, I worked at Greenpeace for 5 years and was an organizer with them and fought to shut down the coal plants in Pilsen and Little Village. Worked in DC for Greenpeace, and Lenny's got my backing. I know she'll do what's right on the environment, and I would expect that the environmental groups will get behind her this time around as well.
all right, thank you very much. Answer questions for a candidate, so we really appreciate your attention to that.
Thank you.
Who's up next is Laura.
Laura.
Laura Zabransky wanted a few minutes to talk about her new Facebook group, and I'm gonna let her introduce it.
Yes.
Only a few minutes.
Only a few minutes.
I said,
Things
right, you guys know me, I think everyone here knows me. So when I came up, Ray's like, oh, you can take as much time as you
No.
want. And I saw,
No,
I know, no, I saw Mary, I felt Mary Claire going, no. I'm like, she knows me. Okay. I recently started a new Facebook group called Brandon for Chicago Volunteers. And it is being run, I'm grassroots, I'm not paid by the campaign, but I did get the blessing of the campaign. And I started it only a few days ago. I had the idea as soon as I watched an amazing speech by Brandon Johnson when he got into the runoff. This group I'm so thrilled with already. It's already got 300 people who have joined. And it's got some of the fiercest organizers and activists who I know on there. And I think we need to be clear that our movement, activists, and organizers help to get Brandon Johnson where he is. This is the way politics works. It is never the candidate, the politician, the public official who makes change. That is a falsehood, if any of you think that. It is always the movements. The movements are always, the people in the movements are always pushing our politicians to do the right thing. So, this group is already, what we're doing, what I've seen already is that we're sharing volunteer events, either through the campaign on their Mobilize site, on Brandon Johnson's website, or some alder people who have just endorsed him, like my alderman, Vasquez. He's holding like canvases and phone banks out of his political office every weekend. Someone just came on with saying that her college student daughter was unable to register to vote at the Board of Elections. And we can talk, I can tell you. And she's on the phone with them for hours, she's talking about it. So we steered her to the media. And like now, Parrish Schutz at WTTW says he talked to her, he's gonna look into it. You know, I would have never known this is going on if she wasn't on there. And then like finding out where to pick up signs and all this stuff. And guys, Brandon Johnson needs to win this election. I cannot even imagine, I'm not even gonna entertain a Vallis in office. And I want you to think of Vallis as Trump. Because he's actually worse than Trump in 2016. Because Vallis has so much baggage that Trump didn't even have then. And by the way, see me after, if you want my email, I will email you a 3-page document, single spaced or one line each, of links to articles I have in various categories about him, including his associations with white supremacists, including his tanking budgets pretty much all across the East Coast and ruining and privatizing schools, including a letter to the editor that probably will not get published by the former Chicago Teachers Pension Fund president of the Board of Trustees, who wrote how Dallas decided to not fund the pension fund, and now we're paying for it on a credit card. But you know what? I want to go back to Brandon Johnson because he's who I'm supporting, and this is the first time I've been able. Anyone I voted for has gotten to a place where they could be the winner. And I'm always voting against someone, and I'm just so thrilled that I'm voting for someone who's going to invest back into people and reprioritize. And I want to say a word to people who think he's maybe too radical. And you know, we have a lot of Democrats in the city, and you're hearing that from Democrats. And it really bothers me when I hear that, because I never heard these people saying that closing a record number of schools was radical. I never heard them saying that closing public mental health clinics was radical. I never heard them saying when Lori Lightfoot raised bridges on young Black and brown activists, which put them into a kettling situation, the CPD police, who were then assaulting them. And I have friends this happened to. Never heard people saying that was radical. Never heard them saying it was radical about the billions of dollars of money that we pay, including interest because of bonds we've had to float for all the police settlements. Never mind the fact that almost half of our budget, city budget, goes to police. I've never heard that called radical. So you know what? Because we've been radical for generations in disinvesting in the people who live in our poorest and most violent neighborhoods, we need to right this ship. Brandon Johnson is the most progressive candidate since Harold Washington. And you cannot let Dallas get elected. So I want you to volunteer.
All right.
Claire was right.
So are we gonna post the Facebook thing?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can post the Facebook link on Stacy Is Emily here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yay, Emily! Come up. Emily is from Angela Clay's campaign. We've already endorsed Angela, so yay team. And so she's going to tell us about how to get involved and what and campaign updates and what to do to look for. And step into
I'm so excited. I've always heard the step into the light, and I'm like, okay, I have my moment. Well, hey everybody, I've met many of you at this
All
point.
right. Can we have quiet in the room, please? Thank you.
I've met many of you at this point, but for those who I haven't met, my name is Emily. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm Angela's campaign manager. Angela's sad to not be able to make it this evening, but I am here in her absence to give a little update on the campaign. So as we heard earlier in the meeting, we had a strong first place finish on election night. And we are in a runoff election. So we've got 27 more days until April 4th, and really excited to tell you a little bit about how things are going and how you can get involved. One thing that I do want to share, I know there was a double endorsement here at NDFA. I know there are many people in the room maybe who were excited about one of the other candidates in the race, Marianne Lalonde. Wanted to make sure everyone had the update that Marianne is officially supporting Angela. We're working together really well, and I do want to, just really give a shout out to Marianne and her team who have been incredibly helpful. There's clearly shared values there, and we understand the stakes of the race, right? Between Angela and Kim Walz, there's a really clear choice that we have here in this election, right? We have one candidate who is born and raised in the 46th Ward, right? Who's been doing work in the community for over 17 years, right? Who's bringing together her lived experience, her community organizing background, her policy experience to, positively impact people's lives in the community, especially around issues of affordability and education. And then there's another candidate in the race who, is a corporate lobbyist for Walgreens, who's being backed by, the real estate lobby, by major corporations. When we look at these special interested corporations, they're putting their trust in a candidate and saying, okay, this is the person who's going to be in service of us in City Hall, right? And I would say we need someone who's going to be, at the end of the day, accountable to our communities, who's going to work in service of making sure that we're improving people's lives, right? And so, I think we obviously, with a strong 10% lead on election night, I think, many people in the ward are already seeing that. We're feeling, really great. We have an amazing crew of volunteers that obviously is growing. We had an amazing election day. We had over 115 people out with us all day, right? So, with 21 polling places in the ward, you could not go and vote on election day without getting to have a conversation with a sort of supporter. So we have an amazing grassroots base. Obviously, as we were hearing earlier from some other folks, runoff elections are really expensive. Campaigns should not cost as much money as they do, but that's the world that we live in. And so if you're in this room and you're, feeling the stakes of the race, encourage you to consider making a donation. You can, go to Angela's website, or I'm happy to, share a link with you individually to make a donation to, help fuel this final phase of the race. And then maybe you want to come out and knock doors or phone bank or, do some voter contact with us. We've got all sorts of canvassing time. So every weeknight we have canvassing at 5:30 at our office at 4420 North Broadway. So that's on Broadway, in between Montrose and the Target. So 5:30 on weeknights. On Saturdays we have canvassing at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. And on Sundays we have canvassing at noon and 2. So hopefully there's a time for you that you can come out. And then phone banking, we have Monday nights at 5:30, Tuesdays and Wednesdays also we have phone banking. You can find that all online. Awesome, thank y'all.
Any questions? No questions.
Okay, thank you guys all. I'm really glad to hear you all.
Why are we asking? We've already endorsed her. Okay, who's next?
Oh, it is Lori Torres. What? Lori, she's here.
Yay! Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So, like my sister Angela Clay, we are in a runoff. It is 36th ward. 36th ward encompasses 7 neighborhoods in Chicago. We came in second, meaning we were able to keep the incumbent from winning outright, which is... and we are doing what we need to do based on our numbers to reach as many people as possible to see us have a victory on April 4th. We got back out there on the doors and having those conversations and bringing people to our side who voted for the 2 other candidates that didn't make it. And we'll keep doing that. I thank you all for being a part of helping me get a push out, and know that we are continuing to knock on doors and phone bank and talk to as many people as possible. We've had volunteers come out. Election day felt great for me. And then the next morning was a different story. But I say all this to say, my opponent, I'm usually pretty good about making sure I listen to what my grandma said, right? And so I'll say this. The people who are supporting my opponent do not care about the families that live in the 36th ward. They don't. If you look at who's donated to my opponent, the laundry list of the harm that they've caused is seemingly endless.
Yes.
I'm a Chicago teacher, I'm a mom, and a community activist. I've been that, I will continue to be that. And we are working towards a victory on April 4th, and that's going to require as much help as I can muster from here till then. And so I am here asking that you all continue to believe in this race and believe in the positive outcome that we are working towards, but also believe in a Chicago that is better for all of us.
We in the 36th Ward have knocked for Brandon as well from day one, and I don't deny it to anyone who asks who I'm supporting. And he came in second in the 36th, and with real potential of winning the 36th Ward. Again, it matters how many people we talk to. Second behind Paul Vallis by 5 points, and then Chewy came in third. And so there's a lot of votes out there to get. And we're gonna go get them. We're gonna go get them. So thank you all.
All right. Yes, now Ray gets to be the representative from Megan Mattias' campaign. Megan is also in the 45th Ward, and she's also in the runoff. Stand on like Ray.
I got it for this one. It was turned on. Okay, Megan's 45th Ward. She's running against someone who shall not be named. He came really close to actually winning it outright. Then the mail-in ballots came in, and he went from like 49.9% to 48%. So that was good news. And she is currently couldn't make it tonight because she has to be at the doors with her people, trying to get as many votes as she can. We have to work at the precincts from Lawrence down south as far as we can go, because those are the progressive precincts. And she'll be out there every night trying to get it done. This Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Weston Coffee Shop at 4872 North Milwaukee, across the street from the Jefferson Park L. Anybody who could make it, who's here or virtual, she's gonna, that's one of her campaign, to get out the doors things. Okay, and she needs to increase the turnout in the precincts everywhere, because it's desperate. So, that's it. I'm not gonna say anything else except come support me.
Has any of the other people that were running against her endorsed her?
I've heard Jim Sue will be working with her, hopefully.
Okay.
And the other candidates, I don't know. But I'm sure they will be. They have to. I mean, look who they're running against. Okay. That's it.
All right. Our last speaker, we were going to invite someone from the audience to come and talk about Brandon Johnson, but Laura has already spoken so eloquently about why we need Brandon.
I still think Mike should speak, because I spoke mostly about him.
More Brandon propaganda.
All right, Mike, you can come and give a little bit more Brandon propaganda. You've been designated as the Brandon propaganda person. So,
Encouragement.
I agree. I think Laura did a great job at speaking on behalf of Brandon Johnson. And my name is Mike McHugh, and I got to meet Brandon Johnson the day that he announced he was running for mayor. I got really lucky. Actually, it was a fairly conservative friend of mine who said, you really should come and attend Brandon Johnson's announcement. My conservative friend works at a church that had supported Jenner Academy, where Brandon taught, and got to know Brandon as a result of that. And Brandon was always trying to get more resources for his school, and that's kind of what drew me into Brandon's orbit. And so that day I met him, and then we had some follow-up discussions, and I really have been taken by how incredibly grassroots-oriented Brandon Johnson's campaign has turned into. His campaign knocked on 300,000 doors prior to February 28th. Close to 50,000 doors between the Saturday before February 28th on up to Election Day. This was an incredible effort that the Working Families Party had helped him with, and he, on the day that I met him, already had Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa and soon-to-be Congresswoman Delia Ramirez on stage with him. And you know, he's got quite a coalition, and I do believe that it'll be the grassroots efforts that will take him to victory in the runoff, as it took him to victory over our current mayor. And you know, I too am a big fan of Chuy Garcia, and I think that was a really steep climb that Brandon overcame in investing both Chuy and Lori Lightfoot. And I do believe that he has the potential to be the next mayor of the city of Chicago. And I think we really have to endorse him with the, you know, with this organization. I hope we can have a unanimous endorsement, because I think Laura pointed out the sharp contrast between Brandon's candidacy and what Paul Vallis offers, which quite frankly is more of the same. You know, Paul wants to just hire more police, and that's our public safety. Brandon believes in investing in people, in you know, addressing our education. One of the things he wants to do is hire CPS students year-round, and he understands that's going to require investments. And he has been detailed in where he wants to go for resources to pay for those investments. And one of the areas he's not going to go to is property taxes. So he's talking about some other taxes and so forth, things like the real estate transfer tax and the head tax, items like that that he feels we can handle. So I urge this organization to endorse Brandon Johnson, and I hope that people will follow what Laura's website's about and volunteer, because she's already got 300 people involved, and we've seen a lot more involvement in these things, because I've been knocking on doors for Brandon as well. So I think we're going to have plenty more volunteers, but we could always use more. And let's hope that we can elect the next mayor of the city of Chicago, and he'll be Brandon Johnson.
Thank you. It is 8 o'clock exactly. I'd like to get going into voting.
I lost my index card, that's okay. I misplaced it.
So if you are a voting member, you should have a card that might look like this. Hold on.
Are we done?
No, I need an index card.
Okay, hold on. So we're going to sign out, but don't move. Now is your time to check in if you haven't gotten a card.
If you move, you're in trouble. Yes, right. Okay. Next month's meeting is Thursday, April 13th. Yes. Other announcements? Mary Claire?
Announcements go to Mary Claire if you've got other announcements.
Make sure you vote in this April 4th election, and don't forget our tip jar, and thank you for watching.
And one other thing, our next meeting will be war stories, so we'll be talking about all of our favorite campaign stories. So thank you very much. Good night.